This is my 2010 Chevy Camaro SS. I paid $16 out the door for this clean title car with 42,000 miles and a transmission that sounded like this. Okay. Now it's slightly possible that this car was banged into second gear one too many times, and so I removed the TR6060 transmission and then I tore it all the way down. And when I say all the way down, I mean the second gear is the very last part that comes off when you're rebuilding one of these transmissions. But after pulling it out, it was obvious that the teeth on the gear were damaged, and so were the synchros. So I went with upgraded carbon fiber infused synchros, a brand new second gear, and a few other while you're in there's, rebuilt the entire transmission, installed a brand new flywheel, clutch, and pressure plate, and the Camaro was ready to hit the road until I heard this. What is that? Okay, that's not good. Which luckily ended up being a torn boot on the center support bearing, no big deal. I then proceeded to enjoy my Camaro SS like a Camaro should be enjoyed, making sure not to miss any gears, and all was well with the world. But I just can't leave anything alone, so we are gonna modify this car in kind of a weird way. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the ECOMARO. Well, not yet, we have to get to work, but we are gonna make this car not only more powerful, but get better fuel mileage. I've done this before in a C5 Corvette. We got up to 40 mpg. 40.26, that is what my C5 Corvette, the EcoVette, gets. So I have a few more tricks up my sleeve, but the first one, well, it's gotta be the tires. I don't know what happened to them. All right, well, it's a few weeks later, and I did get tires put on this car, but I've been driving it. So they probably have like, I don't know, 500 miles on them, but we have some brand new P0s from Pirelli, so that is done. And our first step to eco-modding the Camaro is gonna be to get it low, because the lower the car is, the better it can slice through the air. And on my Cadillac Escalade, I lowered it 4 inches in the rear and 2 in the front, and after driving it many thousands of miles, I noticed a real world difference of 1 mile per gallon. That's kind of a big deal on a big heavy truck that gets, you know, really bad gas mileage. So hopefully it'll help out with the Camaro, and at the very least it'll look good. All right, here's our beautiful, beautiful table of parts for the Camaro. And just like the Escalade, I went with my friends over at KW. On that truck, we did a Beltec suspension kit, and that's what they sent out for the sway bars. So we have our Beltec front and rear sway bars. These are beefier units with polyurethane bushings. So the car is gonna have a lot less roll. It's gonna handle a lot better. And then we have the KW coilovers. So these are fully adjustable in the front and in the rear as well. And this is just a beautiful sight to see. Everything from them is super high quality. They're awesome to work with, great customer service. I'll definitely drop a link down below, and you have instructions. That's beautiful. But we're real men, we don't need instructions, right? I'm just kidding, I'm totally using those instructions. I can't even literally get my impact gun on the socket. Oh, there we go. First step though, I believe would be to take the wheels off. You wanna do that. All right, 20-inch wheels coming back off. You know what's something that's really annoying? We gotta try and fix this right now. Look at the cap. Someone just wrapped over the Chevy logo. I want people to know I got a Chevy. Hang on, we gotta fix this right now. What is underneath here? Watch, it's all faded and destroyed, and they wrapped it for a good reason. Let's see. Oh no, that looks beautiful. Look at that. It's like a metallic silver. Sweet. This thing is minted out. There we go. That looks so much better. And I gotta say, this looks kind of boring right now. We're gonna definitely clean this up after replacing this. So the Camaro is from Texas, I believe. It's completely rust-free. So this should come out. All right, nope. Sometimes you get lucky with these and you can just buzz them off, or you gotta hold it. And definitely just use a ratcheting wrench. I can't find my 15, so we're gonna spend about, 20 minutes on this.
20 minutes later.
That was the SpongeBob thing. I never watched SpongeBob once in my whole life. I just see people putting that up on the screen in YouTube videos, so I figured I'd do it too. This is finally coming off. There we go. Hello, I'm over here. Next is gonna be this bracket for the brake hose. It's just a 10mm bolt like this, and then it comes off. Next, we're gonna have 2 gigantic nuts for the spindle. And bolt, look at how clean this is. Other one's down here. And now everything is getting nice and loosey loose. We can remove this bottom bolt here and the spindle will come out. But let's disconnect this. We don't want to ruin our brake pad sensor. Right now we have 3 suspension arms holding the spindle with the brakes, and check this out. Did you guys notice that the brake calipers on this car have wheel weights on them? The other side has the same thing, and I'm like, what is going on here? That's actually from GM. There was a bulletin on this. It's supposed to help with vibration. Never seen that before. And we're gonna remove this nut, but at the same time, I have to hold this entire quick strut assembly. Whoa, okay. Oh, it's coming out. That's all that's holding it in. And there she is. There she is. Very, very easy to remove this. I think we're gonna do some cleaning in here while we're in there. We're just gonna bomb this whole area. Oh yeah, just gonna get clean. Oh, this is so nice. If this was a Chicago car, it would take a lot more effort to clean this. Woo, look at this wheel well. Look at it, it can look like that. All right, about 1 minute ago, our wheel well looked like this, pretty dirty and grimy, and now it looks beautiful, like this. This is such a nice, quick and easy step you can do when detailing a car, is just clean up these plastic liners. And I gotta say, this Camaro is just in excellent condition. Everything is super, super clean. It only has like 40,000 miles. The next step is gonna require the Hannibal Lecter mask because we're messing with springs. What we need to do is hijack the upper spring mount or strut mount, and we're gonna use these spring compressor tools. One of them's already installed. These are universal, they're very nice. They slide in like that, and then they have these little locks. Click them in like that. That way the spring can't go anywhere. Safety first, people, when you're messing with springs. If these shoot out and hit you, honestly, you could die. Oh, and while we're talking about safety, I've been wearing these Brunt boots for about 4 months now, and this comp toe is great. So I've been using steel toe boots my entire life to protect me from things falling on my feet, but they're uncomfortable, heavy, and they get really cold in the winter and really hot in the summer. With Brunt boots, you get the same protection, but you don't even know that they have anything over the toe at all. I wear these boots every day, and I put them through a lot, but outside of being dirty, they still look amazing. Look up close to the stitching and the seams, it's still in perfect condition. These are their next gen Marin boots, and I can't tell you how comfortable they are. They are slip resistant, oil resistant, waterproof, and they use a Texas steer leather. The stitching looks great. I almost want to buy a second pair that I don't get dirty to go out in because they look so good. I can't say enough about how much I love Brunt boots, except that if you guys click on my link down below and use coupon code LEGIT10, that's gonna save you $10 off your next pair of Brunt boots. We're gonna relieve a little bit of pressure by tightening them up. And we're compressing the spring right now. And my socket is a little stuck in here, but the important part is this is spinning. So that means there's no pressure. Now we can safely remove this nut. Like that. Got a little cup there. And our spring mount will slide off like so. Now we want to unload this gun right here. Loosen these up. Nice and loose, and we'll retrieve our tools like that. Cool. Now this is a safe spring. Check it out, our new coilover weighs about 12.8 pounds, and our old setup weighs 19.5 pounds, so quite a bit of a little weight savings here off the front end. So we're gonna transfer over the upper strut mount, and they give you 2 of these, I think possibly for different applications. This one doesn't fit, and this one fits perfectly. So we'll go with that. And this is gonna slide in here, and our spring is gonna fit right inside. And we'll use our factory cup and the factory nut with a little bit of Loctite. We're gonna snug it up with the gun. Just about there. With it snugged, we can torque it with the vise. 50 foot-pounds, that's all you need. Just ready to go back in. Our coilover can now go in through here, and it's gonna pop up here and say hello. Hello. And now we can use our factory top mount hardware, except they gave us a brand new nut, and it's a lock nut, so that's nice. So we'll wait to tighten this until we tighten everything else. Look at how pretty this looks. Now we can slide in our spindle like so, and get our bolts in there. And now we're gonna add our 2 nuts back in, and we're just gonna snug these up by hand. We're not gonna tighten them just yet. I'm gonna snap this back in, and I'm gonna go ahead and reconnect our sway bar. And the new strut comes with a little spacer that holds this in nicely. Get the nut back on. Sway bar's tightened up, and we'll reinstall our 10 mil for the brake hose. So if you look at the factory sway bar versus our new sway bar, This one is much, much beefier. So the whole point of a sway bar is to reduce sway when you're taking a turn. So if you put a thicker bar in there, it's gonna be a lot stiffer, and when you take a turn, your car is gonna roll less and it's gonna handle a lot better. So it's gonna improve the handling on the Camaro, which already handles really well. So that paired with the coilovers and our adjustability, I mean, this thing will be like a canyon carving machine, which is what you need when you live in the city of Chicago. Now let's get this sway bar link out. We're not gonna get lucky. Spinning. And do this the slow way. Slow and steady always won the race, or whatever the rabbit and the turtle say. I don't really believe that one at all. I think fast and steady would probably win the race over slow and steady. I mean, if you could just do both, you're fine. You're like a double threat. Am I going the right way? Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I am. I'm a real mechanic. And that's coming off. Sway bar has been freed. Well, it's got a bunch of bolts holding it in, but it's almost been freed. Oh, this is great. I could fit the gun in here. Yes! Victory, at last. That was literally the first none. I've been at this for 2 minutes. It's not that bad. All right, I've gotten all the bolts out, so now this thing is loose. I'm gonna lift it, hopefully just up out of here. Probably have to do a little shimmy shamming and turning stuff. Actually, it looks physically impossible to remove right now, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I don't need a thicker sway bar. We're good. I'm just kidding. We're getting this out. Get out! We're gonna loosen up some motor mounts and lift this engine. It's just a couple of 18s. I actually moved my engine jack to the back. You want a flat part of the oil pan and get the entire length with a block of wood so you have the walls for support. Then we can jack up our engine. I've jacked up the engine a little bit. Let's see if we can get these out now. Let's go this way. Eh? Go a little bit more on the engine. This is where we're at. I can't get these clamshells off. Okay. I get it. Oh, you're not gonna hold me up, clamshell. Just give up. I got it. All right, so you gotta jack up the engine to get this out. We're gonna go in with the new one in the same way that we came out with the old one. This way, and this one's bigger, but no clamshells. We'll put those on after. Should be easier, but I don't know. We're stuck. We're stuck right here by the rack boot. Get in there, bar. Ah, yes. Oh, whew. I did it. Here are the polyurethane bushings, and they have this cool, like, I don't know what this is inside. Kind of reminds me of Kevlar for some reason. It's probably not that at all, but they give us a little bit of lubricant for inside of here, so we'll use it. And these do have a slit so we can fit them over. There we go. Second bushing going on. And we'll slide it into place right about there. I'm gonna lubricate the inside of this clamshell as well. And then we can just simply slide it right over the bushing. Pull it on down. Before we attach the hardware, I'm just gonna lower the engine back down to its natural habitat. And I've pointed this out before, but I'm pointing it out again. This has the original 2009 motor mounts. That says a lot for a manual transmission car. It's like usually banging gears, you mess up hydraulic filled motor mounts, but this thing it wasn't abused, maybe? I don't know. And I put the nuts back on. They give you new washers as well. Just tighten these up. Before we tighten everything, we're gonna install the end links, and these are in good shape. There's no play, so I'm gonna leave these alone. But if you do have any play, this is just a ball joint in here. Just throw some new ones in. There's our nut, and I'll just, it'll take me 10 minutes to tighten this. Everything is tight for the sway bar. It's powder-coated gray. It looks pretty awesome. So this is our factory strut, and this is the top bolt. You can see it's been elongated from the factory, and that is to adjust the camber. And so with these bolts loose, you can see there's a ton of adjustability here. But from the factory on my Camaro, it was missing the bolt that goes right here. I assume a Camaro would get the same setup, so I just found a bolt, actually off of another GM product, that'll thread in. But we're gonna, for now, just kind of camber this all the way in. And as I hold that, I'm just gonna tighten this up. The bottom is fixed, so that doesn't make any difference. So now when we bring this to the alignment shop, they'll be able to use this bolt to push off and set the camber perfectly. So this is what the wheel well area looked like before and with our factory suspension. And this is what it looks like now. Much, much better. This matches our big Brembo brakes perfectly. It's time to do the rears. Let's remove our rear wheel. And here is the factory rear setup. Works well, but we must go low for better aerodynamics. I mean, seriously, like for better aerodynamics, that'll get better mileage. That's the whole point. And it'll look sweet. First step for the rear is we're gonna take the bolt out of the bottom of the shock. There's our bolt. We're gonna remove this control arm bolt also. We have to remove the sway bar link for our new rear sway bar as well, but also to lower this control arm a little more. And you know, I can't find my ratcheting wrench, so here we are. It's wasting time. Go. Okay. Now our control arm is pretty free. Now we have 4 bolts holding the top strut of the frame. So 3 out of the 4 bolts you can get with the gun, and then there's 1 that's right above the subframe right here. You can get with a wrench, a 15. Yeah, I got it. A 15 though, a 15, seriously. On the day I don't have my ratcheting 15. God, you don't know how nice tools are until you lose them. They're just not appreciated, especially the ratcheting stuff. Who remembers when there were no ratcheting wrenches? Are you that old? I'm not. I'm only 22. Don't remember that at all. All right, got this bolt. Everything is nice and loose, and we should be able to pull this out as an assembly. Coming out. Okay, to the bench we go. Same idea as before. We need to relieve the spring pressure so we can remove the top hat. Can't really fit a gun in here, so we're going ratcheting. I have a 19, so that's good. We're a 15. Once this gets really loose, you're good. There's no pressure here. Now we can remove this nut. And it's spinning, great. If you stick a T40 in the end, you can use a ratcheting wrench to loosen this. Now you could hold this with a nut and then use a gun and zip this out, but anytime you can just spin the nut and not the shaft, I prefer that because that shaft does have to seal on something, so you're just spinning it on a seal. Now, granted, this is the old stuff, we don't really care, but it's just good practice. Now we can steal this. Sorry, buddy. So now we have our nice shiny yellow spring. That's gonna fit right here, flat side down. And we're gonna use this plate from the factory unit right there. And then our top hat goes over like that. We'll reinstall this factory plate here. They did give us a new nut, so we'll put that on. Same deal, we'll use our ratcheting wrench to spin the nut. Okay. And now the spring rests right in there, so we're gonna position it while we tighten up the adjuster. We're gonna set these all to about the same front and rear. I don't really know what a good base setting is, so this thing might be like totally slammed to the ground or lifted when we lower it the first time. I just don't know yet. All right, brand new spring and shock going back in. Got a little spinneroo. There we go. And I'll drop this in the lower control arm. Sweet, this is so easy. Definitely lower your own car. This is fun. All right, bolts all going back in, just like you saw me remove. This is the one for the shock itself. I'm gonna leave these loose. We'll tighten these up fully once the car is at ride height because there's a control arm bushing in here and you don't wanna tighten it and then have it twist. Then it's in an unnatural state and you'll wear out the bushing. We have some 13s for our rear sway bar. Hopefully this is easier in the front. Please be easy. Was almost easy. Yes, yes, that's easy. That's awesome. When was the last time you guys watched the original Transformers with a 2010, well, like prototype 2008 Camaro? I just watched that for the first time with my kids this weekend, and I tried to convince them that I had the same car, but because it wasn't yellow, they didn't believe me. It was infuriating. I was eating my ice cream, and I'm like, no, kids, I do have Bumblebee. I have like Bumblebee's sister or brother. Something. It's just as cool. New sway bar's going in. It does have a little arch here, so the arch faces down, and then we'll sneak it in this way. All right, so just like that. And that same deal, these have the polyurethane bushing, so we will lubricate them. Slide these guys over, and we have our new brackets, nice and shiny. And we'll get this guy in place like that. They do give us some new washers for the rear, so we'll use those, and then thread in our bolts. Before we tighten up the bolts, we're gonna slide our sway bar end link in, and there are 3 holes here for maximum adjustability, but I'm just gonna go with the center hole. That's kind of like the factory one. Wheels are on. So excited to see what this looks like. Oh, and I got a torque bar. I found this on Amazon to torque wheels quicker. I don't know how accurate it is. I'm still gonna check, but it's just nice to put wheels on and have them torque, you know, very quickly like this. Here we go, here we go. First, look at our new ride height. Oh, she's getting low. That actually looks pretty good though. It's pretty low, pretty low. But what do we got here? I kind of just like when the bottom of the fender is level, you know, and there isn't much of a gap here, but I don't like it to be too crazy. It's gotta be a legit street car. I don't wanna take turns and destroy my car. This is looking good for a first run though. Now the rear, we can probably go down quite a bit, so I'll have to make that adjustment. This is already way too much negative camber for me, so we're gonna have to fix that. So I wanna go a little bit lower in the rear, so we are going to go lefty with this nut, which is gonna elongate the spring and lower the car. I'll do this a few times equally on each side, and we'll see what kind of ride height we get. Whenever you're done with your final adjustment, you just have to tighten up that Allen key and it'll lock the nut in. I can already tell I don't like all the negative camber. So we're gonna loosen these up. So right now, we're max in. I'm gonna tighten up this bolt. It's gonna move us out a little bit. Now when I push this forward, it'll stop. All right, after making a few rounds of adjustment for the ride height and the camber, I think this will be the one. All right, yes, this is looking really good. Let's send it over to the alignment shop and get this minted out. Just got the Camaro back from the alignment shop, and we have the camber all fixed up. And yeah, this car, it could use some wheel spacers, definitely. We'll see if we mess with that this go around, but camber's good. And I think the ride height is awesome. It's not too crazy slammed, but not a lot of gaps. Same thing with the rear. I think this is a really, really nice stance. Something that's not the nicest is just how dirty this car is. Yeah, it's sat outside, it rained, it got dusty, and I kind of want to get rid of the old Power Tour 2016 sticker. We're gonna get rid of that, and let's get rid of this Roadkill sticker. Wow, that was really easy. Goodbye. I got my boy over here, he's gonna help me wash it. Go for it. You're going crazy. We're debating whether to wash the off-road ML because we're going on our yearly off-roading trip next week. I don't know. It's LegitStreetCars foam cannon time.
I'm gonna give it a new paint job.
Yeah, get up closer, buddy. It's windy. It's a white Camaro now. All right, I got my car wash team going to town on the Camaro SS, the lowered Camaro SS. What do you guys think of the Camaro?
It's fine.
It's just fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. It's not the best, he says. He's going crazy drying the Camaro. My daughter and I washed up the GN, so she's drying it. She loves the gigantic drying towel. It's so easy. Look at that, it's just dry. All right, after cleaning up the Camaro, removing some stickers, lowering it, this is what she looks like. Wow, this stance should have been factory. This is absolutely beautiful. It doesn't rub on anything when you turn the wheels. It doesn't hit the fender liners. I love it, and I love these 5-spoke polished wheels. That is what the Transformers Bumblebee had on it too, although were those bigger? Were those bigger? I don't know, but I love this car. It's amazing. We're leaving the American flags. They're on both sides. I really like this. So tomorrow morning, I have a 3-hour ride to Indiana. Muscle Car Justin over there, who tuned the van and did a lot of the cold piping for the van, is gonna be tuning this car, eco-tuning it. We got some other stuff up our sleeves. I'll see you in the morning. It's the next morning. It's like 6:30. I'm running super late, but I got my coffee. I'm bringing some food because I'm trying to be healthy. Seriously, I'm trying to be healthy. I'm bringing like turkey, chicken, eggs, and boots. But you know, I got my fancy tire inflator and jump starter. Comes with me on every trip. Cold start. This thing is so quiet. It is cold this fall morning. We got heated seats, 2 SS, baby. I'm filling up before we hit the road. I rarely fill up in Chicago. Are we doing this again? Almost $5 a gallon? I'll be doing a few different fuel mileage calculations. So since I have to drive a couple hundred miles right now, that'll be one of them, although it'll be through the city a lot. So probably won't be the best test of our highway MPG. But it's funny, this thing is rated at 24 on the highway, and the automatic version, because it has the displacement on demand, is rated at 25. But I'd venture to say the 6-speed manual still does better than the auto in real world. But they had to justify the active fuel management, displacement on demand, whatever you want to call it, where it shuts down to a 4-cylinder on the highway. Bad system, especially at this time. There is our full tank. I need tire pressure sensor, so we'll fix that by pressing the button. It's fixed. Now I'm gonna eco drive this car so we can get the best fuel economy ever. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna be driving through the city. I'm just gonna drive it like a totally normal car. I'm not gonna do anything different. Train tracks. The main test will be straight highway mileage. After we're done with all of the mods at Indiana Muscle Car, I got a nice, better ride back to Chicago. We should be able to get some really good results with that. And something else, this thing handles really, really great, and the ride is just like stock. So even over those train tracks and Chicago potholes, like one right there, it's still really, really smooth. And that's fantastic. But the handling, especially with the sway bars and the coilovers, oh my God, it is much more nimble. It's just like you point and shoot when you want to turn, and it just goes. Very minimal body roll, but like 0 sacrifices. Oh man. This thing handles so well. There's like no roll. Oh. Okay, that's probably the most spirited driving I'll be able to do in the city of Chicago. Oh, one more. For good measure. Oh yeah, we are gonna hit some bad traffic. Okay, it's coming, I see it. The cars, they're bunching up, they're slowing down. Getting on the highway after all the suspension work and a manual transmission, the V8 sounds, all of that, oh man, that is perfect. The alignment is perfect. This is gonna be a nice ride. Okay, literally like 10 seconds later, this is what we're doing here. Yep. So downtown Chicago is super close to Indiana, and it's just insane the difference. You'll be in downtown, you know, and then as soon as it clears up, you're in Indiana like 20-30 minutes later, and it gets pretty free out there. I've driven about, I don't know, 80 miles or so, and we're going about 70 the whole way. 26.2 mpg. Look at that, that's a little eerie. I turned the radio off so I could film that scene, and look at the date. I've never reset it. Wow, that was like peak recession right there. And also probably the time that this car was built, I would imagine. I could check the sticker, but that would make sense. All right, get some turns. Manual transmission cars, they still definitely belong on road courses or on ramps. Getting on another one here. Oh man. 5th gen Camaros are sweet, guys. It was an 8-year hiatus we had with no Camaro. I honestly don't know really how the world even worked from 02 to 2010. It really didn't. We had like a great recession. It was horrible. It was horrible. And then 2010, 2011, we started coming out of that great recession. Coincidentally, right when the 5th gen Camaro came out. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think everybody was just happier and they started working more and fixing their delinquent mortgage loans. I had two, guys. I was in bad shape back then. Probably a story for another time, but I was gobbled up by the Great Recession. It was rough. It was rough for me, but I made it out alive. And now look at me. I'm in a 5th gen Camaro. Yeah. It's like 14 years old now, but I'm in Indiana. If you can't tell, this is Indiana. It's exactly like Illinois, minus Chicago, really. If you guys watched my last Hellcat dyno video and I'm in Hampshire, Illinois, it's basically that. There's lots of really nice roads that you can, you know, test out your fuel economy with. Or your full throttle economy. Something. I would love to just go explore abandoned looking farmhouses or whatever that is. We have some family that lives in North Dakota, like out in the middle of nowhere, and we did that once. We all hopped on 4-wheelers and we just drove around country roads. There's a bunch of abandoned stuff. Probably could have gotten shot, but we didn't. And we got to abandon like houses and barns and stuff like that. And some of the houses looked like someone just got up and left like 50 years ago. There were still plates on the table and everything. It was kind of like eerie, but also a lot of fun. I don't know if any of this stuff is real, but there's some channels and shorts and stuff on the internet of people exploring abandoned places. Highly addictive. Ooh, a new house. Definitely don't go explore new houses. You will get shot. Or really any house. Don't explore houses, guys. It is actually probably dangerous. It was before I had kids, all right? It doesn't count. I'm mature now. Maturity! Alright, seriously, I gotta stop beating on this thing. I've only done like 3 little full throttle blips like you guys saw, and fuel economy it's right around like 24, so it is actually showing what GM rated it at, and I'd say what my drive was pretty normal, like real world, 70 miles an hour, a little bit of traffic, 3 full throttle pulls for just a few seconds, so, you know, maybe 25, 26 if we really, you know, babied it, but man, I guess GM was right. Maybe these things are just kind of heavy. I don't know. All right, we're 3 minutes away from Indiana Muscle, and I just love being out in the country. Farm activities. Born and raised in Chicago my whole life, but I love the outdoors, and I love being out in the middle of nowhere. I'd love to live in the country. One day I will, where I'll buy a place in the country or something. Yeah, I think most car guys are probably like that, like wide open spaces and stuff like that. I go camping all the time. We go off-roading and stuff like that. But we have to drive kind of far out, you know, for it. So one day this city boy will move out to the country. I mean, I got the accent down, like perfect. We've arrived to Indiana Muscle Car. Look at that trailer. It's beautiful. What's going on here though? It's even got the the IMC sticker on it. Why? Better have an LS in it. I think that's actually got an LS in it. What's up, man?
Doing good.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Busy, busy.
Justin, everybody.
Hey, guys.
Van
How you
videos. You guys remember him? We did lots of nice smoky burnouts. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yep.
All right, I see a Tesla, which is weird for this place, and I said it's got to be LS swap, but that's actually LS swap,
You
right?
should check it out. Taylor will show
I
you.
definitely want to check that
It's
out.
LT swaps.
Oh, that's
It's
right.
a 10-speed LT engine with a camshaft, E85. We'll check it out. Here in a second.
Okay, cool. Here she is.
The ECOMARO.
The ECOMARO, it actually did about GM's rating here. I might have done a couple
What
full
is that,
throttle. It's only,
26?
no, it's 24.
24.
And
okay.
25 for the auto because it's got the displacement on demand, but that's like ridiculous. This should do way better.
How fast were you going?
Like 70.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So faster than the EPA side.
Yeah, for sure. So, anyway. All right, we're not messing around. We're going right to the dyno. We're ready on the dyno. Right now, Justin is just making sure we have a stock tune. We do have an aftermarket mass airflow sensor, and he has hooked up HP tuners, going through everything.
So we're just going to overlay a file. So I took from HP Tuner's website, I took a factory 2010 calibration, and I overlay those two, and we're looking for comparative changes. This is the track changes. So any changes between the calibrations would be populated here. You can see this is in fact a stock calibration. There are no changes, it's blank.
It's funny, like I'm looking at this blank screen and I'm like, is something supposed to be
This is
popping
what I
up
look
right
at
now?
it. Yep. This is
Okay.
there's no changes. So this is
Okay.
exactly a factory.
Awesome, stock tune. So what we're gonna do is get a baseline because we are not only turning this into the ECOMARO, but we want more power as well. And the beauty of this modern day tuning is that we can have both. We can have this get better fuel economy when you want it, which is essentially cruising on the highway in 6th gear, but we don't want to sacrifice power. I mean, who would do that? All right, Taylor, what do you think? What's it gonna make? Stock 2010
Oh,
SS.
wait. We do a thing where we write it in a hat, we throw them in a hat, and then we all guess. So we can we can wager $1 or something on it. Something
Nice.
like that.
All right,
So
gambling.
horsepower is the win, torque is the tiebreaker. Okay?
Okay.
All right, you ready, yours?
All right.
So this is rear wheel horse.
Rear wheel horsepower, dyno
That's
jet,
the win.
right?
Dyno jet,
Okay,
yep.
everybody place your guesses down below. You don't win anything but bragging rights in the comment section, but you know, here we're wagering big money. 426 is the stock crank horsepower. It does have the muffler to lead. I'm gonna go 397 because I think these are a little underrated. WHP Alex. There we go. Are we looking at each other's?
We can. I guess we can.
Okay. Oh shoot. So you got 388 horsepower, 402 torque.
Yep.
Okay, hold on. I forgot about my torque. This is kind of cheating now. That
It
I
is
know
cheating,
I'm
yeah.
just gonna go with 400. Yeah, 400 torque. He's got 405 horse, 390 torque. What do you got?
418.
All right, here we go. He's about to rip it, but really quick. You guys, if you're anywhere around, Indiana, this place is amazing. They work on obviously a ton of GM stuff, but they build some serious cars, including, C8s, all sorts of newer Corvette stuff. And yeah, lots of other cool stuff in here. And Justin, on the 6-speed manual cars, you can go 4th gear 1-to-1, right?
That's exactly what we're going to do.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
A lot of you guys ask me about what gear we're tuning in or dynoing with the automatic cars because sometimes it's a little difficult. This is easy.
So I noticed something pretty bad when I looked at the data here, even before running it stock. Our mass airflow sensor is reporting that it's -6 degrees in here.
Oh.
So our fueling's completely wrong.
Oh, wow.
So I think we should switch it to a factory MAF. So it's a factory tuned factory MAF. This is not functioning.
No, okay. I might actually have the factory mass airflow sensor. If you guys saw the reveal video, there was something in the trunk, so we'll see. All right, I got the screws out. Let's pull this and see what we got. It's a little weird. Kind of looks a little bent. It's a power flow mass airflow sensor. Well, I thought I had the stock mass airflow sensor in the jet box that came with the Camaro, but I didn't. So we're gonna go steal one off of a Corvette. But before I do that, I gotta let you guys know about an awesome sale that Avalon King is having on their complete DIY ceramic coating kits. So right now, you get 2 kits for $100, and the first 100 orders, if you click on my link down below, are gonna get a totally free 3-pack of their buffing towels. So these kits are super complete. They come with everything you need to ceramic coat your car. 1 kit is good for a small to medium sized car, and then the 2 kits will cover a larger SUV or truck. And I've applied the ceramic coating on basically my entire fleet. It's amazing. It forms an invisible layer over your car that protects it from the elements and makes your paint ultra hydrophobic, so dirt and water just roll off, keeping your car cleaner for longer. Anyone can do this at home. After your car is cleaned up, you simply wipe it on, wait 60 seconds, and wipe it off. You'll be done in a couple hours. It's fantastic. Take advantage of the deal. It is a limited time. First 100 customers are gonna get these bad boys. Link down below. We're borrowing the mass airflow sensor from this. Is that one bent too? Look at that, that one's straight. I wonder if the one in there was damaged, but it is also odd that it didn't throw a check engine light for that, especially with the stock tune, but it is technically in range. Whoa, there's some things there that don't look like mufflers. Did you guys do that?
This one was done at, I think, a place in Texas, and we're looking at some bugs on it and getting it ready for Indiana weather as opposed to Texas weather.
Okay.
But it made 1,100 to the tire.
Oh,
so
nice,
It's relatively,
nice. Ready
it's
to go.
relatively quick.
Very, very cool. Is that stock transmission?
It is stock transmission with a Dodson clutch.
How do they hold up?
It is not broken so far.
Okay. That's all you can ask for. Eventually, 1,100 wheel, that might break a trans. Look at underneath the C8. Totally flat. Neat. I haven't seen this at all.
I made you a present for your car.
No. No way. You made custom ECOMARO. No, that's awesome. Look at that.
I just love laser etching, so I just do laser etching on the side. I like doing it. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So he laser etched the intake on the van with the LegitStreetCars logo, which I thought was so, so cool. Is this a different machine now?
It is, yeah. This is the X2 F1 Pro. So this is a lot faster and a lot more accurate than the old machine that I had
Yeah, I like
before.
the setup over here.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yep.
All right.
So you're ready. Yeah, you got some fresh Stanleys to take home with you.
It's funny, my wife needs a new one of these. It'd be funny if she just rocks the ECOMARO in the Escalade.
There you go.
The Escalade, can we do that?
Go laid, yeah.
Our Corvette mass airflow sensor is installed. Yeah, that thing is bent, man.
This one is bent and is junk.
Yeah, I wonder if it's physically broken inside, and that's why we have -6.
It's terrible.
This engine is so, so quiet.
84.
Oh.
I believe it.
We're back?
We're back.
No more -6?
Nope.
It's definitely not -6 yet. It will be probably in a couple of months, but 84 degrees is what we're working with today.
Looks like 379 rear wheel horse.
No, really?
That's all it is. Yeah, we can look at the data right here.
Ah, that's horrible. We all lost.
I
But
think I won.
yeah, oh yeah, what'd you do?
Let's see.
388 for Justin? Oh, I had 397.
What did I do? I thought I went 82.
Yeah, you won. 388. You're close.
Oh, I went 88. Okay.
Yeah, you're
I thought it was
closest.
very close. Okay.
Fixed. It's fixed.
So it's, you know, from an air fuel perspective, Alex, it's not bad. I mean, it's ugly, but it's a little bit close to what a tune would be. So we'll fix this up. We'll bring this air fuel ratio up, of course.
Okay.
We'll add a little timing, and we should make some. We're looking for 400 rear wheel, so we'll see.
Is that abnormal for a stock Camaro just coming off the highway and ripping like a dyno pull, or
As far as
like
this
is
air
it
fuel
too low?
ratio,
No, I mean just in general the horsepower.
I would have guessed this car would make 385.
Okay.
So I added
Okay.
a little bit because it's got an air box.
Yeah.
So that's what they usually make on this dyno, about 385 stock.
Okay. So from 426 crank to about 385 is the normal drop on these cars. So I guess they probably are pretty closely rated, you know, to what they actually make.
So this is your timing graph here shown in white. There's knock, it's going high timing here, low timing here. It's just a complete nightmare.
All over the place.
Yep.
All right. So Justin is now working on the tune in the office. We are going to assemble a harmonic balancer. So outside of lowering the car for better aerodynamics and tuning the car for better fuel economy, we are also going to do a 10% underdrive crank pulley. So basically this is 10% smaller than the factory crank pulley. It's going to be lighter as well, and that is just going to free up horsepower by reducing weight. It's also less drag on the accessory drive, less rotating mass, less of everything, but hopefully more fuel economy and then less fuel. You know what I mean?
Well, pretty simple here. You got a little alignment dot right there, and then pointed out right here, you got your offset hole. So you're just gonna slip that down, lining up the bolts as best as you can. We always like to come through and put a little extra Loctite on there because it's a bad day if this comes apart.
Right? So they give you some factory,
They
but
give you some, but we always like to feel good about it.
right. So it says a minimum of 9 bolts. Is there any other option? You got to put all the bolts in, right?
Yep.
Or are they hiding a bolt under that
Yeah.
sticker? Wow, it's a little sneaky. Look at that.
Look at that. That's nice and shiny.
Yep, so you got your 6 that'll hold the main hub to the actual damper, and then you got 3 more for your AC pulley. Just gonna run these babies down, and we're gonna torque them. And on here, they provide instructions to go to 16 foot-pounds.
Is that what you do? Or a little more?
We like to do 20.
Yeah. I always add a little bit just for good measure.
So typically we just have somebody hold the outside here. It should be run down all the way.
Oh, I felt it.
Yep.
Felt it. This torque click is very quiet. There we go. Click.
Check that last one
Yeah.
just for good measure.
We're good.
And that's a special Torx Plus. You got rounded edges.
All right, look at that.
If you don't use the right one, it'll tear those bolts up. This one does not have an offset hole, so you just slip it over, grab more Loctite.
And the pulley he's installing right now is for the air conditioning.
Yep, and that is not underdrive.
That's factory diameter, so the compressor will still spin exactly the same way it did. The thing is, because this is a smaller crank pulley, the accessories are gonna spin 10% slower, but obviously a lot of testing has been done, and it doesn't really make any difference, so the alternator and the water pump and all that stuff is still gonna function properly. These have been around forever. I remember doing these like when I was in high school on my 3rd gen Trans Am. All right, we're going 25 on these, and we have our tailor-made vise here. And just for good measure, check this one. We're good.
Sweet, that's ready to throw on now. I bought one of these extra heavy weighted sockets, which will get that balancer bolt out every single time.
No way.
Yep.
Dude, this is heavy. Look at the construction on this. Taylor was just telling me these harmonic balancer bolts on these LS3s, they're very, very tight. Sometimes the impact won't get them off. And there are weighted sockets that I've never heard of. I don't know if that's weird. Have you guys heard of this before? But this will help, with getting a bolt that's highly torqued off. There's actually a decent amount of room on the Camaro to do the balancer, but we're gonna pull the fans and the air intake, and then we'll have all the room in the world to get our impact in there. All right, Justin just uploaded our new tune after cleaning it up. GM, you just need a Justin there. He'll fix it right up. And we're gonna see right now how much horsepower we're gaining, tune only, before we do the underdrive pulley, and then we'll have an apples to apples to see if that thing actually adds horsepower. All right, let's see, GM, what do we got? What do we got? Is that 380 or 390?
That is 80. I didn't make any. Yeah.
Whoa. That's more like it. So we did 2 runs there, 380, and then we took some measurements with the wideband and got it up to 396. That's awesome. And is that 400 foot-pounds of torque?
400 exactly.
Nice.
401 where I come from.
Look at that. All right.
So we're pretty close on fuel. I'm really targeting just to be on this dotted line here. For some reason, right in this area, I've got to make a little change, but overall, I'm within a few percent.
Cool. That's 395, right?
396.
396. All right, cool. We're doing pretty good.
Yep. Looking for 400 maybe.
Tune only. Those are great gains. So this is now like a 450, 460 crank horsepower Camaro. Here's our very first run to our last run. Big gain, just in tuning. Hey, look at my guess. 397, 400 foot-pounds of torque. We're at 396, 400 foot-pounds of torque. I'm like Nostradamus or Alex Sardamus. Okay, this is hilarious. We're heating this up right now because it's easier to slide over the crank if you heat up the snout there. And we're using a kitchen product here.
Yeah, we've got the Nothing But the Best at Walmart, so this is what we use here.
All right, excellent.
And it's the Oster. That's $19 of fury right there.
It's professional grade here, people. Taylor's slipping the AC belt off. There is no separate tensioner on this. It is a stretch belt, which is kind of an oddball system. You literally pry the belt off. What do you think of the old stretch belts?
I actually like them.
You like them? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the old-fashioned tensioner.
Yeah, they're easier to put on, but it's less pulleys you have to worry about failing.
True.
So.
True. And that's why they did the stretch belt. Some of you guys have asked about this, but it's just way less parts. Taylor obviously took the fan out, and I'm always just so impressed with how clean this car is. It is definitely not from the Chicagoland area. It's mint, just zero rust, zero corrosion. It's beautiful. I'm over there showing off how we're heating up the crank pulley, and Taylor got these out in like 5 minutes. We're using the weighted socket here, more momentum. Oh man, like butter. That's beautiful. Now it's stuck, the tool's stuck. The beautiful LS3, ladies and gentlemen, a legendary engine, considered probably to be the most reliable of the, non-supercharged LS, naturally aspirated LSs. This is the king. This is what they use in all the swaps too. All right, crank bolt coming out. Is that a push rod in there?
It looks like it. It's the dedicated tool.
Wow, I think they just pulled it off the assembly line at GM, and it is a push rod. It looks just like it.
Missed the specs slightly.
Yeah, right. They're being environmental. All the push rods that just, they were just slightly off, they made into tools. So this car does have the factory exhaust manifolds, just a muffler delete. Do you guys see a big gain on the headers on a naturally aspirated?
Yeah, they're probably worth 10 to 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad. Okay, it's just dawning on me right now that it would have been really easy to hit these sway bar bolts from the top. If you're doing your own sway bars, do it from the top. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Almost. Ah. Yes, there we go. Perfect. All right, factory balancer coming out. I wonder if there's a weight difference. There should be, right?
We could scale them.
Yeah. Let's see what this thing weighs. We have 10 pounds, 4 ounces. David Hasselhoff is watching us do this right now. Is this your third gen
That is.
in the magazine?
Yep.
We're gonna check that out later, but we are third gen brothers. And I had a formula as well. All right, one ounce.
Is it the same?
1 ounce, 1 ounce difference. We're at 10 pounds, 3 ounces. Every last ounce counts. Especially honestly in the rotating assembly, 1 ounce less. I mean, that is a decent amount. New balancer with the installation tool going in, and with it heated up, it'll help it slide over the crank, but we'll still need the tool to draw it in. So basically that is a very, very long crank bolt tool. And this has a bearing, so it'll spin with it as it goes in. You guys know how much I love stickers and stuff. Look at this engine V8 on the hoses. That is neat looking. It looks kind of old school, you know? Remember like the old V8s that they had in the signs in the 50s, or I don't know. I wonder if V6 Camaro guys get the V8 hoses just to pretend. All right, so we got the ratchet holding it, and now we're just gonna go ahead and spin that, and our new balancer is getting sucked in right in place. Crank bolt going back in, little Loctite. Hey, nice shoes.
Thanks, man. Nice shoes.
Look at that. He's got the Brunts. I got the Brunts. We're Brunt brothers here.
Brunt bros.
It's perfect. How do you like them?
They're awesome.
They're awesome, right? Super comfy?
Most comfortable boot
Yeah,
ever.
I love them. So AC belt is on, but we did grab a couple of belts, different belts, in case they didn't fit, and they're not fitting. This one should work. Our main serpentine belt. Oh no. Oh, come on. We're waiting on a belt, so we got to check out this Panamera S. Oh, that is not normal. No, it's not. I say it's a good looking car, very usable, hatchback, you know, but it's a Porsche. It's got reliability issues, and apparently you can fix that. Look at this. This thing is like daily driven. Has its little bumps and bruises, not perfect. How many miles a year roughly do you drive this thing?
Oh, a year, it's hard to say. Probably close to 10 to 15,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I drive it every single day.
That's cool. No way. Are you kidding me? Dude, this is clean. Like, it looks like an engine that definitely could have came in this car. The fitment is just like spot on.
Yeah, thanks.
That's really
My
cool.
goal is to try to make it as OE appearing as possible.
Yeah.
I did stuff like the OE airbox is still in the front, so you know, making a custom adapter, you know, to make that work. A lot of the OE German stuff is really, really good. You know, like the cooling system is excellent. So I didn't touch any of that. You know, it's got excellent like air dams to the stacks and, you know, the radiators. So it's really hard to get this car hot. Like it's really well cooled, but like it's got a factory rear end in it. I actually got one out of a Bentley because it had the right ratio. And through experimentation found out that it was almost a bolt-in. And then stock drive shaft, custom billet adapter. This has a GM 10-speed in it.
Wow.
So 6.2 liter LT1 out of like a 17 Vet, and then 10-speed out of a 19 Camaro. It rips. It's got some Texas Speed goodies in it. Makes about 500 tire.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at the wiring. This looks 100% factory. And that was something I was really impressed with these guys when we were working on the van. All the wiring they did on the van. You know what my van looks like. It doesn't deserve the type of wiring that they do, but it was like primo. It was the best wiring on the van. But yeah, this looks totally factory. Wow. At first glance, if you just pop the hood, if you take away like the shiny intake part right there, you'd think it was just the engine it came with. You got AC, of course. How did it integrate into the rest of the car?
Pretty well. I didn't have to do anything crazy with like the subframe to get it to fit. The whole motor actually sits on top of the subframe because it was a weird front sump setup, dual overhead cam motor, and it had a dual clutch trans. To get the drivetrain to fit, everything fits really up high. And so like if I were to jump this thing, the first thing to hit would be the cross member, not the oil pan.
Wow.
So that's kind of goofy, you know, how it's positioned. But
yeah,
like that AC compressor, for integration's sake, is actually the stock Panamera compressor bolted to an AC bracket for a Camaro.
Oh, cool.
And the 4-rib belt lined up perfect. Everything.
Oh, man.
So some of that stuff was kind of cool that it just worked.
How about the interior? Like, were you able to make the gauges work?
Yeah, so all the gauges function except for the tack. I'm working on a couple options for that right now. So I added a Banks gauge to view some more stuff, but all the other gauges function normally.
Very cool.
It's got a Camaro shifter in the middle.
Oh, wow, look at
And
this.
so the goal there was that I could use tap shift.
Very cool.
What I was going for was, you know, a nice gentleman cruiser body, but then muscle car chop out the back.
Yeah, definitely.
So
listen to that. It sounds good. Like, you can obviously hear it's got a big cam, but it's not crazy loud. Like, you can drive this car. That's perfect. Well, thanks for showing me, man.
yeah, I'll take you around the block.
Yeah, I'd love to.
I give you full permission to do whatever you want.
You sure about that?
Wow, this trans is perfect. Like, it shifts so nicely.
Yeah, I find that I exceed speed limits the most just because I want to hear it grab another gear.
Yeah.
You know,
It's got like a little gargle kind of, I don't know, growl,
Yep.
whatever you want to call it. I gotta say, GM, for the most part, they've had some issues with some of their transmissions, but they're pretty solid.
Yeah.
Like if you think of the GM transmission lineups, even dating back to like the Turbo 400 was always the go-to for power.
Yep.
And now with the 10 speeds and everything, they're phenomenal.
They got it right with the 10 speed,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I swear the Escalade would go a half a second quicker in the quarter mile if it just had the 10 speed.
Yeah,
I mean, the shifts are so bad in the E8.
So what's cool about this chassis is it comes stock with a lot of really cool things to put the power down. So factory rear tire is a 285 width. It's got 6 piston Brimbos in the front, 4 piston Brembo in the back, and it really plants the power really well. You can rip it in first and it's not ever gonna get away from you. Like it stays straight. It'll burn the tires all the way through first, but.
And what year is this car?
This is a 2010, which is the first year of the Panamera model.
Okay, so I mean, man, you can pick one of these up with like a bad engine at the auction for not that much money.
Exactly
now, right?
what I did.
Is that what this was?
Yeah, I bought this one with a blown trans, and then I ended up selling the motor out of it for like $4 grand.
Wow.
So, you know, a lot of that initial investment can kind of pay itself back off.
Yeah. Well, how much was the car originally with the bad trans?
I think I paid like $7,500 for it.
Okay.
So, you know, not too bad, especially since these came out of the factory like 95 grand.
Yeah.
They've come a long way.
What do you think you have into it with the swap and everything?
Oh gosh, I mean,
I know there's a lot of experimental costs.
There's a lot,
but like if you were to redo it again,
yeah.
Now that you know everything you know, like what do you think someone would have?
It's easy to say you could wrap up a good 20 to 25 in it.
Yeah.
But it's worth that.
Yes,
you know, like
100%.
A good 2010 is still worth 20 to 30.
Yeah.
So this has a unique drivetrain. It turns every head you pass. You know, a lot of people like the looks, but then this one also sounds the part.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's not bad. That's like a sound investment in the world of swaps.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
you hear so many people that lose all their money on their swap.
Yeah.
This would still pull in that kind of money. Could I do a little dig?
Yeah, go. Do whatever you want. If you roll into it smooth, it'll plant that power a little better.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That trans is so good. Oh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, I mean, everybody knows how legendary the engine is under the hood, but the transmission is like the icing on the cake.
It's the magic for sure, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
This thing rips, man.
It's fun.
And it's all motor, so it's like, you know, reliable, pretty simple, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Wow, man, it sounds great.
No boost to worry about heat soak.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll just do it all day long. It'll just keep taking it.
So I saw the factory exhaust manifolds. What else is the exhaust made up of?
It's all custom to work with what I wanted. I used Corsa's universal muffler set. They just kind of came out with their universal line.
Okay.
So it's all Corsa mufflers. They're universal series though.
Cool. This is kind of the perfect daily.
It's perfect. I love it.
Okay.
So here we're at like 30-ish.
I mean, it's smooth as glass.
Yeah, the Germans know how to put together a car that'll do 100 mile an hour for what, half hour straight on the Autobahn?
Yeah,
so.
I'd love for like a Porsche engineer to drive this thing, especially one that was involved in this first gen. You know, his face afterwards would be like, yeah. You did good.
Well, this will spank even the turbo model.
Oh,
because you could have got a twin turbo V8 in this year.
Right.
Which I think are 500 crank, but you know, this is another, I would say a superior trans.
Yeah.
And another 100 horse easy on top of that.
Totally. Well, thanks for the ride, man.
Yeah, of course, man.
Justin finished up the Camaro while we were gone. The belt came in. Look at that. Wow. Honestly, even if this balancer doesn't make any more power, it looks really cool. Like that's some race car stuff right there. Got the cold air intake going. It's lowered. We're ready.
We're ready.
We're ready for
We'll do the exact same tune and see if it makes any power.
450 wheel?
Yeah, I hope that, right?
There's no chance. Yeah, right. All right, same calibration. All we changed is the harmonic balancer. It's got to break 400. That thing's got to be worth at least 5 wheel horsepower. But again, place your guesses down below. Does the 10% underdriven crank pulley make any difference at all? Seriously, looks cool spinning though. That's worth it right there. Did he really? Did you really make it chop a little?
I did. I'll add more.
What do you do to make a fake
Spark table, so you just tell it to have more idle correction and spark, and it'll fake chop.
We got a fake chop. So people will think I'll have a cam. They'll think it's much faster, but it's not. I gotta say, there is no chop to this engine. It is one of the smoothest running engines, big V8s I've ever had. It's fantastic. Here we go. 405. Let's do it. Power. this thing is very consistent. 394 on those 2 runs, like almost identical. Wow.
It's, yeah, what to say?
That answers that.
It certainly didn't make any horsepower. It was the same coolant temp, same tune, everything was the same, so.
All right, there you have it, guys. The good, bad, ugly, whatever. We just do tests. 2 runs, 394 horse, did 396 before. I think that honestly is just maybe a difference in temperature. I don't think it had anything to do with the pulley one way or the other. You know, you can have 2 horsepower difference between runs for like no reason, essentially.
Yep.
But yeah, that's it.
We got it.
Cool. Now I can definitely hear the chop. Totally. Wait, you did something else, didn't you?
I added a little bit more.
I like that. That's nice. It's got like a cool little gurgle chop to it. That's sweet. I'm believing it. Okay, so AFR and timing and everything look great. That is basically what this car makes, about, you know, 395 horsepower. So right now, Justin is working on the eco part of the tune. So he's just gonna be running it on the dyno for a while. It'll pretty much be the same footage over and over again, but I'll show you guys what he's doing in the computer. It's pretty neat. We're about to go for a ride coming off the dyno here, logging. What's the game plan, Justin?
We're gonna see if we can find some fuel economy here around the lakes of Leesburg, Indiana.
All right, and you've already commanded this to run a little bit leaner, right?
Yeah, we're looking for 16.5 air fuel, only under light throttle as a test.
So when I came out with the EcoVet series, we commanded like 17 and a half, 18 to 1 air fuel. We tuned that car in what's called open loop, and that's basically where you have full control of all your fueling. So in open loop, the O2 sensors aren't doing anything and you're writing the entire map. Justin did try commanding a leaner air fuel and it seems to be capping it at a certain point. So we're gonna drive it now to see if any of that changes, but it is possible with a newer engine computer that it simply won't allow us to run that lean. So a lot of you guys after that video were like, oh, can we do this to my car? Can I do this to my car? The answer is we don't really know. We just don't know what the factory computer on some cars will allow you to do. Justin's making adjustments here on the laptop and we've been signaled.
We have to move.
I mean, we're tuning here, buddy. He's probably doing something pretty important too, like providing the country with food or whatever.
Here's another one coming up.
Yeah, look at that. We got another one. Oh man, don't mind us.
He's getting way off the road. The other guy was not playing.
Yeah, we can't off-road. They could. I think we could take them.
I think I can lean it out in that area, right there.
So we are pulled over once again, uploading a tune, kind of, you know, somewhere. And what changes have you made to this one?
We're trying to induce a lean fuel condition using power enrichment tape.
Okay. So essentially we're trying to trick the computer into running lean because it won't just do it. You can't just tell it to do it, apparently. It fights it off for some reason. Trying to give you better mileage, Camaro. All right, this last tune update is working. We're at 16 air fuel. Staying pretty steady. You can see here the narrow bands right there, about 0.03, something like that. Definitely running lean right now. We're gonna give it the beans. We gotta make sure it still has its power, and then it's gonna adjust back down to a richer air fuel, so we have the best of both worlds. Yep. We got all the power. It was going to like 12.0, 11.9 or something like that, so that's perfect for power. That's safe. You definitely don't want to run 16 air fuel wide open throttle or you will melt things. But yeah, that was the idea here, is we don't want to sacrifice anything. We want it all. We finished up for the day. Justin's gonna work on the tune a little bit more tomorrow. I'm at my hotel and I'm not 100% sure, but this might be the same hotel I stayed at last time that literally caught on fire in the middle of the night. Well, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and my hotel's on fire. Can't be anything major. I don't remember. I booked the closest one last time and I think that's what I picked this time. On the filter online, I just clicked closest. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't catch on fire. That'd be nice. All right, guys, it's the next morning and the hotel did not burst into flames. So I like that. That's a good thing. And the Camaro's looking pretty good too. This has got to be one of my favorite paint colors for the 5th gen Camaro. Super metallic-y red. That is definitely not what GM calls it, but they should. That sounds legit. Super metallic-y red. It describes it perfectly. All right, we're heading back to Indiana Muscle in the Camaro to fine-tune this thing, and then it's off to Chicago. So it's actually later in the evening the next day. I left the Camaro with Justin. I had the supercharged Chevy Express van, which is kind of how we met. You guys will see this in a future episode, but I was very efficient with this trip, and I continued on to Ohio to buy something really cool that's on my trailer right there that I cannot wait to show you. Here we go, here we go, here we go. But in the meantime, Justin drove the Camaro. He fine-tuned it perfectly so that it transitions with the new tune without me even noticing. So we have full power and hopefully better fuel economy, and we're gonna find out right now. Justin, thank you so much again for all your hard work and tuning capabilities on my Camaro.
You're always welcome out here. Come on.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. And check out Indiana Muscle Car. I'll leave them linked down below. It's getting dark. Let's hit the road and see what we can get for fuel economy. We're leaving. Indiana muscle car. I don't know if you guys just saw my latest project through the glass. I didn't think about that. Maybe you did. I don't know. Guess what I got? All right, so after I get fuel, I don't want to beat on this thing. I just want to drive it like a normal car. I'm not going to baby it, but I'm not going to go doing stuff like this with all my new power. I'm not going to do that. Wow, this thing feels way faster. Like, we gained like 20 horse and, I don't know, 20 foot-pounds of torque, but it feels way faster. Air's a little cool right now, so wow. That is like really nice. I love it. Woo! Traction control. Yes! Tripped him in third, baby. Manuals are the best, guys. I love them. I think I'm gonna convert my Trans Am back to a manual. My WS6 was a 6-speed, and then like, I don't know, 15 years ago or something, maybe longer, I put an auto in it because I was drag racing, but it's so much fun. All right, guys, we've gone about 36 miles. Let's see. 27.9. Okay, it's gone up a little bit, but I don't know, guys. I'm going a really nice, solid 70, like flat land. I think this is about what the car would have gotten before. So I don't know, we'll keep going. 30 miles isn't that big of a test. I still haven't filled up yet. I've driven very little, so this doesn't really count, but 31.4 for, I don't know, the last 5 to 8 miles. I don't know if it'll really do 31, but we're gonna find out. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say that my drive up here, according to this, which we're gonna calculate this like the real way by filling it up and dividing the miles. But according to this, I would say I got 25 miles per gallon. It said 24, but I beat on it, you know, those 3 little bursts for a few seconds. So I probably knocked a mile per gallon off during the couple 100-mile trip. So I'd say 25 is our baseline according to the cluster driving out here. Found a gas station. We're filling up the SS. 430, not bad. All right. There we go. All right, guys, this begins the test right now. Tire pressure light go away. All right, we reset that. We'll go to the trip here. We'll reset trip 2. Let's go. So we're gonna be doing 70 miles an hour for the majority of this trip. And right now it's showing 26.3, so not much of an improvement at all. Sweet home, Chicago. We're passing downtown Chicago. One of the best skylines in the entire world. All right, what's your favorite skyline? I think it's Chicago. For sure. We got the lake, we got the buildings, we got it all. Look at that, we got the Sears Tower. It's always gonna be the Sears Tower for us 70s, 80s, 90s kids. When did they make it the Willis Tower? What is it now? I don't even know. It's the Sears Tower. We are hitting some pretty bad traffic. That's great. All right, apples to apples on the ride so far. Outside of the fact that I went wide open throttle on the way out there, but I didn't do that this time, but wow. Yeah, we're stuck. Great. Also, we've been stuck at 27.6 for a very, very long time. I don't know, guys. I'm feeling very doubtful that we improve the fuel economy on the ECOMARO. It might just be just a regular Camaro. We're starting to move a little bit finally. Never mind. Never mind. We're not moving at all. Okay, here we are coming up to Division Street. So I lived at Division and Larrabee for about 9 years. And that was when I worked for Mercedes-Benz, which was also right in the same neighborhood. I worked like a few blocks away from the dealership. It was pretty cool. Little area of the town called Old Town. Zany's Comedy Club, Second City, that's all in Old Town. Although, I don't know if my area was actually Old Town. The condo I lived in was called Old Town Village West. It was literally across the street from the Cabrini Green housing projects when they were like still going on. So the whole time I lived there was across the street from the projects, which sounds bad, but we never had any issues at all. Like, zero issues living across the street from the projects. Like, we would all be out on the deck having a good time. We would walk to all the bars and restaurants like that were in like more like the real Old Town area. No issues at all. Like, I don't know, maybe I got lucky. But I got off at the Division Street exit to go home for a better part of a decade. I made it back home. And there's only 2 things I know right now because I'm tired. That's my supercharged Escalade that gets like 12 miles per gallon. And the Camaro so far, 26.9. So I mean, obviously that's like really good fuel mileage for a sports car, you know, big V8 sports car, but I don't think so far we have any difference really at all. I mean, you could argue I was going one way and coming back the other. There could have been wind differences and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I think we're within that margin of error right now. But anyway, I'm gonna go to sleep and then I'll continue driving. All right, it's the next morning. We're driving to the shop. So this will get cold started. It will get used like a normal vehicle. I got to make it to the highway, so there will be a little bit of highway, very similar to the drive out to Indiana. So I'm going to keep on going, guys. Probably won't be too much more footage of me driving because it's the same thing over and over again, but I'll show you guys the end results, well, here in a couple days. All right, another day and another dollar? I don't know, it sounded right. It's just another day. And I'm driving the Camaro. I'm trying to drive this as much as possible just on the highway to see what our average fuel economy is going to be. So it is pretty real world though. I have been obviously cold starting it and needing to get to the highway, so there is some city mileage, but we're still doing pretty good, 25.7. Hopefully the weather stays as beautiful as it is today for the next week or so, because it'll just take me a little while to put, well, geez, I probably got another, like, I don't know, 200 something miles to burn through this whole tank. I think one tank would be a pretty good test. Well, guys, I got stuck in Chicago traffic getting out of the city to get to the suburbs. We're still at 25.7, but I think I've stopped at, I don't know, 20 different lights. It's horrible. This will definitely end up being a test with some mixed city. It's a new day of eco driving the Camaro, and this is what I'm running into. You guys hear that thing? Oh, I'm out in the country basically. I'm like 50 miles away from my house in Chicago. I had to run an errand out here and I'm like, well, this is great. I could drive this thing on the highway. It's a beautiful fall day. All the cars are out. This Cam Z06 and I have been cruising down this street trying to get to the highway for the last 10 minutes. And I just want to roll down my window and be like, hey man, I'm doing a weird eco experiment. I can't play around and just get it over with, because he's looking at me, I'm looking at him. This stinks, guys. Stinks. Oh, this sounds so good. Oh. Yes. Look at that thing, guys. I've always wanted a C6 Z06, 7-liter, naturally aspirated. Let's see. Maybe next time. Oh, he just revved it. Oh, he's going to Chicago too. Look at that. We're gonna be on the highway. So here's where we stand with fuel economy. We're right at 27 mpg. Because of all the city driving, it went all the way down to like 25.7. But once we get into eco mode on the highway, which is above 60 miles an hour in 6th gear, basically in 6th gear from 1,000 RPM to 2,500 RPM is when that eco mode activates just automatically. This changes pretty quick. So we, drove, I think I've driven like 50 or 60 miles or something like that today, just pretty much all on the highway outside of getting on the highway. And we went from like 25.7 to 27. So that's pretty good. I think we're gonna probably end up in the 27 range, but obviously the full test will be when we refill it at the pump. So anyway, another day, yet again, of eco driving the Camaro. What do we have here? Is that a Ferrari? Oh yeah, that is a Ferrari. Everybody is out today. Look at that. Sweet. And a GLE 53. I don't know about the 53s. Those real AMGs. All right, it's a few days later. We're going to get gas. We ended up at 26.6. That's on the screen. And I'm curious if this thing's at all accurate versus just filling it up. All right, we're filling up. 93 octane, 470 a gallon. What's gas prices like by you guys? It's been kind of the same for a while now. So 353.2 miles is what we have since the last time we filled up. So we have to divide however many gallons we put back into the Camaro by that number. The most accurate way to do this is to go to the exact same pump, but that was in Indiana, so I'm not going all the way back. We're at 6.8 gallons. Place your guesses down below. What's it gonna be? I'm actually thinking the 26.6 mpg it's probably pretty accurate. It's gotta be slowing down now, come on. 12 gallons, we're hitting 13 gallons right now. When is it gonna click? When's it gonna click? Come on now. There we go. And what do we have? 13.47. Math people or people with a quick calculator, what are we at? 353.2 divided by, what was it? 13.47. And we're at 26.2. The display says, well, it went down driving to the gas station, 26.3. Okay, that is very accurate. Now that we're done with this fuel economy test, I've been wanting to do this for so long. Oh, I love this trans. Tripped him into 3. This car is awesome. It's fast, it handles so well now, and it gets pretty decent mileage. What more could you want? Now, as much as I love my 2010 Camaro 2SS, I will be selling it. So if you guys are interested, I'm asking $25,000. You can email me at legitstreetcars@gmail.com. I unfortunately cannot keep every single car on the channel, and I've probably thrown like $6,000 of parts at this thing. It's got 43,000 miles. It's a phenomenal car. One of you guys will absolutely love it. But to recap this video, the car's sticker says that it gets 24 mpg on the highway, and we are now getting 26 mpg. And 24 is about what I got driving out to Indiana. So I think GM is pretty spot on there. So we gained 2 mpg. We gained like 15 or 18 horsepower, whatever it was. So sacrifice of 0. We have more power, better fuel economy, and a car, you know, with a lowered stance that handles well with brand new tires. So I think overall, this is a big success. You don't have to sacrifice power for fuel economy. Now, was it as big of a success as the 40 mpg EcoVet? No, not at all. And in speaking with Justin, I think this has a lot to do with the fact that this has a newer PCM. This is also a way heavier car with less aerodynamics than the C5. But on that car, we were able to tune it straight up in open loop and just make it run at like 18-to-1 air fuel. We couldn't go that lean with this car. So differences in the computer, the weight, aerodynamics, and there you have it. So with that, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video on the ECOMARO. I hope you enjoyed this series as well. And if you did, give this video a big thumbs up, share the video with your friends and family, subscribe if you haven't already. It's free, there's a little button down there, and it really helps me out. But most importantly, have an awesome day. I'll see all of you in the next video. Max, here's some B-roll for you. B-roll. Before. Holding the spindle with the brakes, so we don't have that. Right now we have sway bars tightened up. We'll reinstall our brake hose. That's the wrong way. But if you do have any back to, so this is what. All right, so you slip.
And the Camaro's looking pretty good too.
Big truck, all right. Get out of my way, big truck, okay, and a car. Now, as much as I love my 2010 Camaro 2SS, I will be selling it. So if you guys are interested, you can email me at legitstreetcars@gmail.com. I don't know why I'm pointing down, okay.